How to start investing with just $100. Have you ever noticed how strange it feels to talk about investing when your bank balance barely seems to breathe? Not empty, but not comfortable either. You earn, the money arrives, and within days it quietly disappears. Rent, utilities, transport, groceries, a few subscriptions you forgot to cancel. Maybe a coffee here, a meal out there. Nothing reckless, nothing dramatic. And yet when someone says, you should start investing, it sounds slightly disconnected from reality. Let's start there. Imagine a fairly normal situation in the US or Europe. You're in your 20s or early 30s. You work full-time. Your gross salary looks decent on paper, but after tax, Social Security, and healthcare contributions, what actually hits your account is very different. In the US, maybe you take home $3,200 a month. In parts of Europe, maybe €2,400 to €2,800 after tax. Then, reality shows up. Rent or a mortgage takes a third of that, sometimes more. Car payments or public transport costs follow. Insurance, phone bill, internet, student loan minimums, credit card balances that never quite reach zero. By the time the month settles, there's often $100, maybe $150 sitting there. And that's where most people stop. They don't say it out loud, but the thought is clear. This isn't enough to matter. So the $100 gets spent, or it stays idle, or it gets saved for later, which often means it slowly disappears into normal life. This is where the real mistake hides. It's not that people don't earn enough. It's not that they're irresponsible. And it's definitely not that they're bad with money. The mistake is how small money is mentally categorized. Most people treat $100 as consumption money, not ownership money. Think about how $100 feels in daily life. It's 2 dinners out, a pair of shoes, a monthly subscription stack, a short weekend trip. The brain associates that amount with lifestyle, not with building anything. But here's the uncomfortable part. That same $100, repeated consistently, behaves very differently when it's invested instead of spent. Let's keep the math simple and boring on purpose. Suppose you invest $100 per month, not aggressively, no risky speculation, just broad market exposure. Historically, markets have returned around 7% annually after inflation over long periods. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But let's stay conservative. $100 per month is $1,200 per year. After 10 years, you've contributed $12,000. With compounding, that becomes roughly $17,000. After 20 years, you've contributed $24,000. That grows to around $52,000. After 30 years, you've contributed $36,000. That becomes roughly $113,000. No windfalls, no viral success, no genius required. Now compare that to the alternative. The same $100 per month, spent quietly on lifestyle upgrades you barely remember. Over 30 years, that's $36,000 consumed. And at the end of it, there's nothing to point to. No asset, no leverage, no optionality. This isn't about discipline. It's about perception. Psychologically, people wait for a moment when investing feels comfortable, when income is higher, when debt is gone, when life is more stable. That moment often never arrives, because lifestyle expands with income. The better apartment replaces the cheaper one. The newer car replaces the old one. Expenses rise invisibly, but predictably. Financially intelligent people don't wait for comfort. They redefine what comfort means. They don't ask, can I afford to invest? They ask, what part of my income must never be touched by lifestyle? That shift is subtle, but powerful. To them, $100 isn't spare money. It's the smallest unit of ownership. It's a claim on future productivity. A tiny employee that works quietly, without stress or burnout. And they don't romanticize it. They understand something most people don't. Investing small is not about returns, it's about identity. When you invest $100 consistently, you stop being someone who hopes to invest someday. You become someone who already does. That changes behavior. You become more aware of fees, more patient with volatility, less reactive to headlines. You stop chasing excitement because your goal isn't excitement. It's stability over time. Now let's address the fear that usually follows. What if I need the money? What if the market crashes? What if I do it wrong? Those are rational questions. And financially intelligent people don't ignore them. They don't invest money needed for next month's rent. They don't speculate with emergency funds. And they accept that markets fluctuate because time, not timing, is doing the work. They're not optimistic. They're realistic. They understand that the bigger risk isn't losing 10% in a bad year. The bigger risk is never building assets at all. Because the long-term cost of not investing isn't poverty. It's dependency. Dependency on salaries, dependency on employers, dependency on systems that may or may not favor you in the future. And that dependency is invisible when you're young. Starting with $100 isn't about beating the market. It's about breaking a psychological ceiling. It's about proving to yourself that investing is something normal people do, not just high earners or finance professionals. If you wait until it feels meaningful, you'll miss the years when it mattered most. Not because the money was large, but because the time was. So if you're looking at your finances right now and thinking, this isn't enough to start, that's understandable. But it's also the exact thought that keeps most people from ever starting. Calmly, quietly, repeatedly. That's how real investing begins. If this way of thinking made you see money a little differently, you might want to stay around. You can subscribe if you'd like.